Hello friend, this video is going to be slightly different. Why? Because whenever you're working with Django, specifically Django REST framework DRF, we have to make use of serializer or model serializer. This is something which is very common. But what I want in this video is to make use of hyperlink model serializer. So of course the question comes, why hyperlink model serializer? So before we get into this, let me show you what a regular serializer does. And here it is. If you want to get the data of my table, let me show you the table even. This is a table that has got 5 tuples. I have gone for, and this is the Django REST framework. So I'm using over here model serializer. So if I click on the send button, look, you are getting the exact data which is right now in the table. So this is what the model serializer does. Well, if you want to add a new data, that also you can do it. Let me add a new data called over here MySQLi. Well, right now MySQLi is not there. Okay, let me run the table once again. No, MySQLi is not there. So let me click the save button and the record get added with the ID number 12. Let's come over here, let's reload the table. Yes, MySQLi got added successfully. So let me come back to the regular model serializer and let's go for a send. Of course, the data entry for MySQLi also comes in. So this is what the regular model serializer does. But now what I want is, I want that for each of these objects there should be a hyperlink. Like what happens when you go to any e-commerce application, you find different product URLs, right? Under a particular category there can be multiple products, and each product you can click and that will take you to a new template where you will be able to see the detail of that particular product. So is it possible that every time someone will be creating a URL and a regular template for that particular product? If there are thousands and thousands of products, physically it is not possible. So for that reason, hyperlink model serializer will play a very effective role. Let me show you what do I mean by this. So here you saw the outcome of a regular model serializer. Let me show you how a hyperlink serializer is viewed. Look over here. In context to every product or every books category of books, there is a hyperlink. Let me click the send button once again and the MySQLi also comes in. If you take a minute note on all these URLs, you will find something very interesting. What is that? It has got the IDs. So this is 2, this is 4, this is 6, this is 7, 8, 12, all the IDs. Well, IDs are unique. They don't have duplicate values. So for that reason, to maintain the unique feature, the URL had been generated on basis of the IDs. So now imagine you can click on a particular product also by tapping on the URL. Well, let me take you to this particular route. See over here, I have given the ID in the query params. So I want to see the record ID number, suppose 7. So I'm seeing a specific product. Now if I click on this, it will show me the book name called Java, right? So if I go and click on ID number 4, I will be seeing website design, right? Website design. So that means what? Here I am seeing the list of all the products associated URLs on basis of the ID. And now when a user will tap on a particular hyperlink, quite naturally the detail of that particular product will come in front of you, and that is all happening dynamically. How cool it is, right? So for that reason, hyperlink serializer is very popular in the modern era. So let's get into the code now and we'll see how did I achieve these two routes where we have got a list of all the product details. Along with that, hyperlink serializer is working for each of these instances, or to be more specific, for each of these tuples. And there's one more endpoint which is actually dealing with a specific product. So let's move on to the code part, and here it comes. So I have got two routes. One is for the list that will show me this entire details, and other one is detail followed by the primary key, that is right over here, this one. Here I'm giving the primary key. Since I'm giving it's a primary key, that's the reason within the angular bracket I mentioned the data type, because it's an integer type and it is represent the primary key, because this particular ID is all unique. Look here, the ID is 2. I give the query params as 2. The ID is suppose 7. The query param is 7. The ID is for 12. The query param is 12. So for that reason, here you are mentioning the specific ID associated to that particular product. So let's get into the serializer first. How the hyperlink model serializer looks like. So it is also belongs to the class of REST framework. So REST framework imports serializer. I have given the class name as category underscore hyperlink serializer, which is inheriting. In the regular case, what you find is serializer dot model serializer. But in case of hyperlink serializer, when you are creating a custom serializer, you are inheriting the hyperlink model serializer. But what is this hyperlink model serializer? It is also a class, and this class has got a base class which is called model serializer. If you tap on this, look over here, hyperlink model serializer is the class which is inheriting the model serializer. So at the end of the day, model serializer is right over there. Okay, so hyperlink serializer belongs to the class of serializer itself, right? Now at first what we have to do is that we have to create one reference. Please take a note very minutely. This is a very important point. So I'm giving a call to serializer. From the serializer, I'm giving a call to a particular data type, hyperlink identified field. So here basically what I'm telling is that I need to create one field which is going to hold the unique URL. I repeat, here the main objective of this particular line is I want to create one field, or I want to create one reference which is going to hold the unique URL, and for that reason we are giving a call to hyperlink identified field, because we have to identify the field and then we have to create the specific URL. Now the question is, if you notice very minutely in hyperlink, it has got the protocol. HTTP is a hypertext transfer protocol. It has a protocol, it has the domain name, or you can say the IP address, it has got even the port number. So that means for each of these URLs it has to generate the protocol. Right now it is HTTP, but when it will be deployed in the server, it is going to be HTTPS. Along with that, the domain name, along with that the port number, plus the entire path. So how this particular URL, this entire thing will be formulated, where the protocol is going to be there, the IP address or the domain name is going to be there, the port number is going to be there, and the complete route. How is that going to happen? For that reason, we have to mention the view name. This is the view name which I have to mention. So this view name should come from the urls.py. So if you go to the urls.py, as I said that there are two endpoints. One is the detail list and other one is a specific detail. Okay, so it's a list where you are going to see all the products, and this is the like the route that talks about a particular product. Now over here I have given the alias names, right? This particular name I have given a category list, and this I have given the name as category details. Now why did I pass this name inside the hyperlink rather passing the category list? Because the list also contain a particular URL. I mean, the list is also containing individual URL of the product. So for that reason, since it is going to contain the individual URL, just like the way we saw over here, this is targeting an individual product by this URL. So it is always preferable that you go for the specific one, because the specific one is also going to be present in the totality. This is the total product detail you are getting, and individually these URLs are there. So how do I create the individual detail that I need to know, which eventually will be associated for all the products? So that's the reason what we have done over here is, okay, over here what I have done is I have gone for the category detail, because this is going to create the specific URL for a particular product, and eventually you will get the list of all the products. So for that reason this name is given. Now when you are giving this name, what's the beauty you are getting? Look over here. Here the endpoint is API, which is right over there when we are writing API, and this category is coming from the parent route. Means if I have to expand it, if I go to the project level, so book by books, inside the urls.py I have got category, from there it is coming. So HTTP protocol is already there, localhost is there, port number is also there, then slash category is coming from the project itself, and then we have slash API slash API followed by the hyperlink, followed by hyperlink slash detail. Let's go with this one, API slash hyperlink slash list. That what I have written, API slash hyperlink slash list. So this is, it has to catch hold of this, then only the complete route will get formed. See, it's complete route. API category is there from the project, then API is there, then hyperlink is there, then detail is there. So this has to be generated. So for that reason I need to get the name of the URL endpoint. That's the reason why this is given. So with the help of this URL, it is able to formulate the entire path. So if this URL is not there, if this template name or the view name is not there, it will not be able to formulate the path. So for that reason this is very important. Okay, so this helps you by default to figure out the protocol, the domain name, the port number, and the complete path. It is coming from here, and then the URL is getting referred. And finally in the meta class you are going to pass all the attribute that you want to refer. So which particular model you are targeting? You are targeting the category model. And from the category model, if I come to the over here, if you see, the category model has two attribute, ID and name. Along with that, it has added the URL also. The URL got generated dynamically. So based on the primary key, it will be generated. Although I didn't mention anything about the primary key over here, but by default it's going to work on the primary key unless and until you change the unique attribute. Okay, then you have to go for lookup field. You have to write to mention that which particular field you are going to be considered as a unique field. Since by default it is going to work on the PK over here, see, real type is PK, so primary key will be considered by default. Okay, even though if you are not mentioning that in the serializer. Now this part is fine. So this is what the hyperlink serializer is, but how this thing will come in the view. So let's move on to the view, but before that, as we can see over here, we have got two view. One is get all category, other one is get detail category. So let's come over here. We have got get all category, we have got get detail category. The basic difference is that in case of get all, we are not passing any particular ID over here. So that's the reason you don't have any specific parameter other than HTTP request. But in case of get specific, you have the primary key. So you like this one, like here I'm mentioning the value 4. So this 4 will be written in the primary key, which is already mentioned right over here. So over here the variable will hold the value. But in case of complete endpoint, you don't have any such a variable, so there is no extra parameters over here. Same thing, I am going to pass the request type is get, because I want to get the data. In both cases the data is type of get, is the HTTP request is going to be get type. Now here I am going to pass I'm giving a call to the ORM category.object.all. It is ORM, object relational mapping, is happening over here. The model is giving a call to the particular function with the help of the query manager. Remember, the object is a query manager. So query manager will pick up all the instances that is there in the model, and it will pass inside the query set. So it's a reference of type query set. Don't tell it as a variable. Many times people often call it a variable. Don't call it a variable, because it's not just holding one value, rather it is holding a matrix. So better you call it as an instance of a query set. And in this case you are passing a parameter as a form of a primary key that you will pass in the URL, like what I did over here. So that URL will be mapped, and if the object is present, then that particular tuple will be picked up and will be stored over here. I'm considering the data is there. That's what I'm considering. Okay. Now after that, what happens? This is a query set in either case. This is also query set. This is also query set. It needs to be typecasted. And here usually the model serializer used to get in, but in this case I'm giving a call to the hyperlink serializer. So in case hyperlink serializer, I am passing few parameters. Please take a note. The hyperlink serializer over here is also used, hyperlink serializer over here is also used, but in this case it has one extra parameter called many true, because multiple tuples are going to be there, but this is specific to one tuple. That's the reason many equals to 2 is not there. So you can say that hyperlink serializer is the constructor, this constructor which you are passing over here, because this is something which I have created. If you click over here, this is the one I have created. So by default it has a capability of accepting multiple parameters. So first you have to mention the table name, from where, I mean, this table name to already you have mentioned over here. This particular reference holds the matrix. So first parameter is a matrix, whether it will be complete all the instances or whether it will be one particular instance. That is the first thing. If you are passing multiple instances, that's the reason why you can mean equals to true. That means multiple instances are there. And now what you are doing, you have to mention the context. The context is just like what I mentioned over here, query view underscore name, same thing. The context over here is been mentioned to the help of request. And remember, when you are giving a call to this particular method, you are passing over here the parameter of type HTTP request. So if you print this HTTP request, you will find the entire route over here. So let me show you. If I stop the server again, let me let me clear the screen and let me run the app once again. Okay, I'm not running with python manage.py. I'm not running with that. For the time being, ignore this. Now let's click on the Postman. So over here, if I'm going to see what happens, so let me pass this particular thing. I'm passing for the all, right, object all. So if I pass the endpoint, if I click on the send button, I will be able to see what actually happens. So click on the send button. The moment I will click on the send button, see over here, I wanted to print the value of the request. So what is there inside the request? The request actually going to hold the entire route. See, slash category, before that localhost colon 127 means localhost means 127.0.0.1 colon 8000 is there, then slash category slash API slash hyperlink slash list. So this endpoint is there. So this endpoint is what I need so that I can generate. See over here, I need this. Then only it will generate the entire thing. But how will I get this? I will be able to get this with the help of request. So for that reason, this is quite important to pass a request. Although this is I'm passing, but again at the end of the day, it is going to track the category detail, because I am going to generate a specific URL. I need to mention the specific URL, the way of writing a specific URL, and eventually it will generate the URL for all. So that's the reason, see over here, slash list is not there, slash detail is there. That means it is catching hold of this one. That's the reason slash detail is there. Okay, because over here I've got detail. The list is, I'm writing that in the URL the list, but in the endpoint it is passing the detail part. This is what it is passing, because that's the way you create. I've said this thing multiple times. That's the way you are creating single URL. So eventually you repeat the process for all other products. Okay, but you have to mention this, as you saw over here. As you mention this, then only in the get you will be getting the entire endpoint. So that has to be written. And then what happens after writing this? That means you got the entire, the conversion took place. So this is the Django representation of an object, and that object again need to be converted into JSON format. So here I'm formatting from serializer.data. I'm formatting serializer.data. If you see, it holds the same thing that is been forwarded in the Postman. So I just printed to show you that in serializer data, this is the same thing that is there. Actually, it's an array of, it's a list, actually list that contains multiple key value pair, right, multiple object, you can say so. So that is not forwarded, and with the help of response coming from Django REST framework, and basically it is converting your Python dictionary to a JSON object so that it can be displayed in the front end. Front end means over here the Postman, or it can be a mobile application also. So same thing what I did over here also. The only difference was that over here you are targeting a particular endpoint, a particular tuple, and over here you are not targeting particular, you are generating the ID for all the tuples present in the given table. So finally what we saw is that with the help of hyperlink model serializer, we can solve a particular very specific task. That is, it will generate routes for every endpoints for every product, and this is quite handy, because with the help of this route you can navigate to the particular product and you can see the detail of that particular product, and you don't have to create any you don't have to create any route from your side. It will be generated automatically. That's really very handy, right? So this is what the topic of hyperlink serializer is. So whenever you're talking about Django REST framework, make sure you go through both the topic called model serializer as well as hyperlink model serializer. Okay, thank you so much. See you soon. Bye bye.